Hi, this is High Templar with my new faction strategy guide, and this time we will be taking on Total War Warhammer Chaos Warriors. Now I'm starting from this faction because it's the most different one from the factions you used to play. It is actually very much different even from other Horde factions you would play in Total War Attila, for example. And this is most interesting one for me. Has some very cool mechanics. Now, first a disclaimer. This is my guide for the moment, for this moment, and my knowledge about the game at this point. While I do believe I know most of the things that I need to know to play this faction well, this is not for certain. This might change, and if it will change, I will make either a comment or I will make another video, and if this will invalidate this video, I will just delete it and create a new one. Now, this strategy guide will be focused on the campaign. There are other strategy guides for multiplayer, and there is a very good one. I will put it in the description. That was done by Maximus Decimus Meridius on his channel. I do recommend that. It's a very good one, and it describes unit, the cost effectiveness, and he's doing a lot of tests. And if you want to learn about the effectiveness of the units, you can either find it on my channel or his. We are not testing the same things, but still. So let's get it started. So firstly, there are some mechanics that you can read here, but there are things about it that you might not consider when reading it. Firstly, this is a horde. Faction has no settlements and can never have any settlements. Infrastructure and military improvements are linked to each individual horde, so each horde will be like his own settlement, building his own troops. There is corruption, which is something useful, less useful if you are very aggressive, but can be very useful because you can break your enemy from inside. The playstyle is strong unit rooster with armored infantry and monsters. That's very true, but you cannot have all of it. The name of the game with Chaos Warriors is specialization, and I will explain why, but you have to make your choices. In previous Total War games you could have like 8 different unit types, because you might want to need this and you might want to need that, and that was a very good build. And each your army was very similar one to the other, because you wanted to have like infantry corps or pike corps in Rome, and then some melee units on the flanks, and some cav, and some skirmishers, and so on and so on. It won't be like that with Chaos Warriors. Strong diplomatic penalties with all factions. Obviously, we are chaos. We want to destroy everything, maybe except for the greenskins. Cannot trade, and economy is heavily reliant on sacking, raiding, and battle loot. There is in fact only one building that brings you money, and this is only 2 and 300 respectively if you upgrade it. But there are, most of the buildings here will decrease your upkeep costs, and this is very important. So we have 3 different lords to choose from, legendary lords. First is Archaon the Ever-Chosen, who is the faction leader, and in fact playing him will be easiest for many reasons. There are things that you can read about your legendary lords, and they are things that are hidden from you, and I will explain what and where and how in a few moments. Now, this guy has spells, and he's starting the game with Fireball. Fireball is very useful spell at the beginning of the game, when you are facing any enemy, if you are placing your lines, you can fire repeatedly with your fireballs. I mean, wait for a bit and fire again, and wait for a bit and fire again. You can get, with normal tactics, you can get 160, 180 kills with just those fireballs before the fight. And then he gets into the melee, and he's a very powerful fighter on his own. So you can get how useful he is. You just need to remember that fireballs are usually overshotting, but they also burn everything on their path. Now, however, if you put Archeon on your flank, with maybe some Chaos Warriors, Chaos Warhounds nearby, if he gets attacked by Cap, and fire fireballs down the enemy lines, because fireball burns everything in their path, you can get 400 kills before the fight with just fireball. And you won't have any spells very soon. Yes, I know you should have, you can have, but you shouldn't have at the beginning. So, but fireball is powerful enough. And you get, with this guy, campaign movement range bonus, which is very useful for Chaos Warriors, more than any other faction. Why? Because you don't have a settlement, you cannot hide behind the walls, and the enemy will become gunning for you with 2 armies, with 3 armies, 4 armies, 3 different factions going after you, each having 2 stacks, and you need to be able to outrun them. And this will probably happen to you. It did happen to me. I had 3 gameplays so far. I'm doing those gameplays. You can see 2 of them. So this is happening to you, and this is how it helps. And also, you have minus 10% upkeep for Chaos Warriors and Chaos Knights. Now, Chaos Knights is the only shock cap and melee cap you will have. There are Warhounds, but I wouldn't exactly call them cap. They are very fast, they are very cool units that you can use, but you know, they do not have this charge effect that you love so much from previous game, and very useful charge effect that will break your enemy. So, and the Chaos Warriors is the only infantry that you can create an infantry corps, because they are the only ones that have some staying power, basically. There are some other options, we will see them, but they are problematic. They are problematic in their own way. So this is pretty much Archeon, and there is one thing that you don't read about him, that he actually has a skill that for his horde he gets plus 25% from sacking settlements. Now, sacking settlements will be your pretty much primary income source. In the early game, you only get like 3,000 from sacking settlement, and you can do it like every 2 or 3 turns. I mean, you can do it. You don't have to do it every 3 or 2 turns, but if you don't abuse the gameplay mechanics, you will. Now, so because he has plus 25% for sacking settlements, and sacking settlements is very much the main income source you have, it is pretty much as if you would tell this guy has plus 10 or plus 15% of money. And that's something. That's really something. Especially that many people struggle with favor if they are not aggressive enough. So then we have Collect Saniter. Collect Saniter has decreased upkeep on Dragon Ogre's unit and Dragon Ogre's Shagots, which are very expensive units, but I don't see. I will try to make a build with them, with many of them, but I don't think they will be as useful as Chaos Warriors and Chaos Knights. So that is one problem of Kolek. Second problem of Kolek is that, as opposed to Archeon, he is not a spellcaster. He is very powerful melee fighter. Yes, that is absolutely true. But he will get less kills than Archeon at the very beginning. Also, there are some other things that will be apparent later, why he will be difficult to play in the mid game. And in the mid game is where it's all going down. So what you don't read about him is that his bonus is actually decrease recruitment rate for Dragon Ogres, which is like, yeah, it's not so good. Now you have Sigvald the Magnificent. His leadership +6 versus humans is actually very good. That's something very useful. And Chaos Corruptions +1 for all characters can be useful, as I said before. It's not like huge, but it can be useful. And he's starting with 2 chosen units and Hell Cannon. So actually best starting units from all guys. But it says he's a powerful fighter and leader. It's not that powerful of a fighter. He's okay, but he's not Archeon. So he doesn't have spells also, and his bonus that you can't read for only his horde is +1 growth. Now if you play the game right, you will have about 8 growth per turn. So plus additional 1 is not so great. And I mean by the turn like 10. Let's say +7. So and later on +8, and so it's not that much actually. Yeah, it can be useful to some point, but playing with him will be harder than playing with any other guy. So this is for leaders, so let's start a campaign and I will explain the economy, the buildings and all other stuff that is very important for Chaos Warriors. So let's get this going. Sorry. So Archeon, as I said before, here, +25% from sacking settlements. Upkeep for the army is 2100. Now, skills. Each guy has pretty much the same skills, except for the non-caster units who don't have this one. But there is something that you absolutely must choose. Route Marcher, +10 campaign movement range, which is huge, but it's not as huge as Chaos Tribes, which you will go from Route Marcher to the Chaos Tribe immediately. If you have a level 5 character, he should have level 3 Chaos Tribes, because it will give you +5 growth to the Horde, which is immensely important. Now, you might think that next we should go like pick one from here and then to Unholy Resilience. Absolutely not. We are not counting on your guys to be wounded at all. So, Dominating Presence. You need to pick Dominating Presence, especially on higher difficulty levels. Your guys will break, and it's actually leadership, or like was Morale before. It's highly important in Warhammer, so this is very useful, but again not as useful as Chaos Vanguard. Now Chaos Vanguard gives you +3 melee attack for Marauders and Chaos Warriors on the level 1. Now that's not 3%, that's flat +3. Now melee attack for most guys is like 30, so +3 is like +9%, but it's more. On the third level, you're actually getting +12. That's like +30% or 40% of melee attack. and plus 10 flat charge bonus. What does it do? Well, this guy, instead of having melee attack 34, has 46 and a charge bonus of 26. This guy has a melee attack of 42 and a charge bonus of 10 while wielding halberd. Just imagine that. Your basic Chaos Warriors with this boost has 46 melee attack and 28 charge bonus. That's devastating. That's absolutely devastating. If you get a charge with those guys, it's game over for most units. So, like I said, we are already having a discount on those guys. Chosen are very expensive units, like Dragon Ogres. So, where do we go? Let's look at the buildings now. So, as I said before, the name of the game for Chaos Warriors is specialization. For other races, you have your settlements, and you have your capital, and you have your other settlements, and you are accumulating growth. Now, one surplus is given by 100 growth, but 2 surplus is actually 400 growth. 100 for 1 and 300 for 2. That's 400 growth. That's 4 times the time. So you need to spend your surplus as fast as possible and get a new level of buildings which will get you even more money and even more growth. So only if you finish all the lower buildings, you should push on to the higher ones. And this is very nice. This will give you a very balanced build for your settlements in your province. And there is very little that would cost for you to save up this surplus to get level 4 settlement in your capital instead of level 3 settlements for your non-capital settlements, because the difference is 400 growth and 2000 growth here. However, there is for Chaos Warriors it's totally different, because Chaos Warriors has flat rate of 20 per 1 surplus. Not only that, but also when you start new chain of buildings, you will increase the cost of another chains by 2. That means the basic cost of Blasphemous Icon is actually 2, but since you already have Tribal Relic, it will cost you 4. And I will show you this very soon. I mean, not very soon, I'm testing this right now. But firstly, my guy, just move here. Encamp. Encampment is very useful if you want to replenish on the enemy territory. You will replenish faster with your allies, but I will talk about that in a second. What you should do is obviously you should build this, because it will not only give you more corruption and horde growth, but also upkeep for all units, minus 10%. And this is not something to be that you can ignore, basically. And we will recruit a new lord. Yeah, well, what you should choose is Death Chaos Sorcerer. Even this guy. Oh, this guy is actually very cool. Let's pick this guy. Enemy leadership minus 2. Cool, very cool. So, why this guy? Because you have the same skills that everybody else. So you should push to the Root Marcher and Chaos Tribes and then Chaos Vanguard, because it will strengthen your army enormously. But you also start with Spirit Leech at the very beginning. Fire Guy will start with the Fireball. So Spirit Leech is a very strong against single combatant. So you push few Spirit Leeches on their Lord and he's dead. The bad thing is range 100 meters, so it is inside the range of their... So it's very close basically, and you have to start a battle to actually do this, because you will be in range of their ranged troops, or they will attack you, whatever. So, but you can fight with this guy and at the same time throw leeches at their heroes and lords. Very useful indeed. Now we have 3%, because our hordes are close to each other. We have 3% attrition, and that's 3% from the number of units you have right now. So now I'm using 3 units here, and here I'm going from 4,860 to 4,608 by the next turn. But this attrition is actually very low, and you can replenish it and camping, right? So
let us corrupt.
I want this guy to be close to here, so I recruited him here. It doesn't really matter. Like I said, all the losses will be replenished. And and with Archeon I am building this building, right? I have one more surplus still, because recruiting this guy cost me 1, and recruiting another will cost me 6, so no point in doing that right now. Sorry. And get some research going. Yeah, so end the turn. Now I will explain. So we have made a turn, and now my Chaos Warriors cost first 4 surplus. However, if I disband Tribal Relic, which I should not do right now because I don't have 2 surplus to build Blasphemous Icon, but it will cost 2 less. Right? So this is very important, and I will show you what I think is the best option for Archeon. But let's start with sacking the settlement. Let's just auto-resolve it. As you can see, minimal losses. Auto-resolve is broken. I would not recommend overusing it. You can find... Oh, that's good. You can find some people overusing it, but I don't think this is how you should play this game. So move a bit and camp, and as you can see we are replenishing everything here. I can get more marauders. Now with the army in the campaign, you could see that while recruiting marauder costs 400, his upkeep is only 40. His actual base upkeep is 50, but this building decreased his cost by 10% and this one by another 10%. So that's 20% less from 50, so that's 40. By comparison, if you want to get somebody else, this guy is 130. Chaos Warhounds, and this guy is actually absolutely pointless. I would disband them as soon as possible. As soon as I have a full stack, or even earlier, because they are really not worth their price. Chaos Warhounds are just better, more useful. The upgraded version of those guys have some uses, because those guys are more piercing and shielded. Still, I would not send those guys against Quarrelers, because they will die. Actually, I think against 2 units of 2 units of Horse Marauders against Warriors will still die. They have very low armor, they do have a Parthian shock, so they are useful if you use them correctly, and they do have armor-piercing missiles. But they are not great. They are not Tarentine Cav, which had 80 armor, right? So, and Poison Warhounds are great. They would do... It says that they are weak against armor, but they are actually doing okay against Quarrelers. I've made a video about this. You can see how well they are doing. So imagine how well they are doing against weakly armored enemies, since they are doing okay. I mean, not great, but okay against dwarves. And their upkeep is not so big, actually, and they are very fast. Very fast. They can catch most of the enemy cav. In online battle that might not happen, but in the campaign they usually get the enemy, or they chase him completely. Either way, and they do have scaly skin, so this is some missile resistance. And you can poison attack is actually very good because you can use it to weaken the enemy. If this is a high target, this is a very powerful unit. You can attack them from behind, and it will decrease their armor piercing damage, their weapon damage, significantly. It's very cool. Very cool indeed. And it will even make this unit to tire faster. So Archeon has a bonus for Chaos Warriors and Chaos Knights, which are solid cavalry. However, do mind that their speed is only 66. But they are a solid cav. Have some mass, have good armor, can penetrate the enemy lines. And also for those guys with Chaos Warriors, all kinds of Chaos Warriors, the upkeep cost is 10% less. So the normal upkeep for Chaos Warrior is actually 200, and for Great Weapon 225. So minus 10 is actually minus 20 gold per unit. And Blasphemous Icon decrease costs by 10%, 20%, and 30% further. And this will decrease your cost by 18%. It's harder to get this one. It's not so big, but even this one is 18%. So your Chaos Warriors will actually cost less than 100 to upkeep. And here you have another building that upkeep costs decrease upkeep costs by 5% further, and increase unit experience. So this is something very cool you can use. And upkeep -8, -28 total is very cheap, sturdy units. Very sturdy units indeed. Those guys are beasts. Weapon strike 36, and those guys with armor piercing 38, not as much better, but they have armor piercing, which is very useful, and halberds also. So in general, however, like I said, the name of the game here is I will go for the Marauders because I will get a lot of Marauders because they are cheap, and they will be my cannon fodder. They will be my cannon fodder because I will get a full stack of them, and whatever I'm not able to get otherwise, I will get those Chaos Marauders. I will push them in front of the battle line. They will die. I will merge them and buy new ones. They are just for dying there, really. To enable my other units like Chaos Pounds to get inside, or Chaos Warriors, and do the damage. So I will pick this one.
I foresee
arguably, and if you move your units, remember that they have to be far away, the horde, not to suffer the attrition. And now I can I cannot really move because if you can see just below the cursor there is a school saying that I will suffer the attrition, so I'll just encamp here and get some more Chaos Marauders because their upkeep is crazy cheap. And Chaos Warhounds because I will be facing some enemies that Chaos Warhounds will be very effective against. Now, so this is our situation right now. And I will just finish the turn. We have just sacked the Bersolin for actually we sacked them for 3,000 gold. And now we will awaken the tribe. Awakening the tribe is another thing that we really need to understand in this game. This will make this guy absolutely from the very beginning. Let's go in the same road here. Your military ally. So those guys are now your military allies. Bersolins. And there are few tribes here that you can have. So pretty much everything in the Norska is held either by Varg or by Skelling. But this was held by Varg, and you awaken Bersolin, and you can awaken also Iceling, Sars, and few other tribes. And they will become your allies immediately. See this guy? Sorry. Bersolin. They are happy because you have awakened them. And you have treaties with them. And you can actually send them on missions to kill. If they are at war with somebody, you can send them their armies, target some settlement on some armies, and they will take them out. And this is very useful because they can take out armies which are close to you, and you will not suffer attrition as you would have your two hordes. So, like I said, extremely useful.
Forward unto slaughter!
And now I'm not suffering attrition. And I wanted to show you something right now. If this now costs 4 surplus, but if I destroy this building, which I shouldn't buy now because I don't have 2 surplus and I cannot build it, and just, get more units.
Let us corrupt.
And also get more units. I can. But, okay. That's sad, but whatever.
Move.
And if I end the turn, now if I want to build Blasphemous Icon, it only costs 2. So like I said, there is 2 per each chain that you start. So I would recommend destroying this, going to Chaos Warriors, and then go all the way here, and then wait until you have enough surplus to build at the same time Palanquin of Trophies for Chaos Knights and for income, and this one, Mounts of Blades, for decrease upkeep and experience. And later on, if you will have money, you can build others, but they will be very expensive. Basically, lots of surplus you will have to spend. So that's what I mean. It is economical to save surplus to build more building at once, and you have to pick your choices. You cannot have everything. You cannot have like 2 of those guys and 2 of those guys and 2 Forsaken and 2 Dragon Ogres and 1 Chariot. You have to pick what you want and stick with it. And decrease in you can exchange it between hordes, but you must remember that the upkeep cost will only be reduced in the horde that you have building for it, right? So it makes sense to have Chaos Warhounds poison in every army because the upkeep cost is not so big, but you know, Dragon Ogres not so much. Not like 5 of them in the army that don't have those units, don't have this building. So the next thing that you need to understand about
We shall weave the fates.
so I will explain why, for example, Archeon has absolutely different style that I collect, because they are completely different. You could possibly abuse sacking those settlements, but I won't. I don't like that. So let's attack Frozen Landing. Now obviously again I can sack it. And just from the battle I get 1000. But also sacking is 3.5. And this will increase a lot. Now I can raise settlement also, and I might with the second guy, which will enable those guys to move an army here and get this working again, make this a settlement again. And this is something very cool, because even if somebody will take out the Bersolink, completely raise it, and will resettle this settlement, you can go here and awaken them again. So that's something that is obviously very useful. I can move here. You can see this school just below the cursor. This is how far I can go. So let's just move here and recruit some units. Now, raising the settlements will give me +4 surplus, which is not as much, since I will be getting very short amount of time +3 here and +5 from my skills. But it can be useful to get something very, very fast, like those Chaos Warriors. Globally, you probably want to take dwarves out completely. Oh yeah, also I wanted to show you, if I click on this guy and say we want to sack this, the sacking value will show up 3327 for here, for 1600, 1700 actually for this one, and these are not even the capital is here. But in later game it will be like 10,000, 15,000, I mean, yeah, 15,000, not 1500, you heard it right, 15,000. So bonus for the sacking settlement is actually big. And already we are doing quite fine here, right? We can afford more units. We will mostly be getting Margaret because that we should do from the start, and only if we have a secure amount of money we can build some better troops, and only then we will have surplus to do so either way. Right? So, globally, you want to awaken those tribes. Now those tribes, they can join the Varg and the Skelling. You could subdue and make them your vassal, which is better because they will give you money. They are big tribes and lots of settlements, and those settlements brings you money, and vassal actually pays you money, so this is something very good. And also, if you awaken all those tribes, sometimes they will wage war against each other, and you will have military alliance with both of them, so you have to pick a side. Pick one that is stronger and make him your vassal. Kick him and make him your vassal. Taking the north is extremely important because this is all chaos country, and everybody that will come from the south for you with their 2 full stacks on or 4 full stacks, and they will be chasing you, will suffer attrition, right? And they are not as, they won't be as eager to go in here if they know there is so many people allied with you, basically. So you start at war with many guys, but there are some people that you don't have a war with, like Red Eyes, Mold, any goblin, dwarves actually also, you don't have a war with them. So then those factions, if they decide to declare war on you, they will also declare war on pretty much everybody else. And you can use it to make peace with them and get money from them just next turn. Because they will realize, well, we are at war with 5 Norscan tribes, that's bad. Okay, so let's say how the Collect and the Sigvald are different from Archeon. Firstly, because this, you don't have upkeep bonus for Chaos Warriors, but you do get Chaos Warriors. So you are starting with this disadvantage. But you probably, as Collect, want to get Dragon Ogres, right? Well, you can get Chaos Warriors at the 2nd level of your horde, but Dragon Ogres at the 4th level of your horde. That means you won't be getting your signature troops for a very long time, and it's even worse actually than that. Collect is not a spellcaster, so you don't have this 200 kills. He is a powerful melee fighter, yes, but you don't have those additional kills. Your army upkeep is higher because you have all those Chaos Warriors. You don't have a Chosen, you get Dragon Ogre, but Dragon Ogre is more expensive than Chosen, so even this minus 10% upkeep is less. And let's go to the buildings. So here, this is Dragon Ogres, right? But if you go all the way here, that's quite the number of turns of a build-up. And you don't want to go through all those turns with just Chaos Marauders, you need to build something else. Now, logic dictates you should go with Chaos Warriors. And you probably should, however, the quest mission for Collect asks for embedding Chaos Sorcerer in your army. And this is a problem, because if you get this guy for free, you sometimes a hero just joins you. And if this is Chaos Sorcerers, that's great. But if it's not, you are stuck with this building. So if you have this building and this building, Dragon Ogres will cost you a lot of surplus. A lot of surplus. Can you not use Chaos Warriors but Forsaken alone? Well, Forsaken is an absolutely monstrous unit. And I don't mean like he is... I mean, he is actual monster. He's not big. There is 80 of those guys. But his weapon strength is 64, out of which like 12 is armor piercing. Yes, compared to 28 armor piercing of Chaos Warriors with great weapons, it's not as much. But it is a large armor piercing enough to shred a unit of Dwarves Warriors, which are less expensive. However, your Forsaken has only 22 melee defense and has less armor and has less health than your normal Chaos Warriors and are not shielded. That means they will drop from Thunderers, from any fire of arms, from less so from because of the armor, from quarrelers or arrows, but they will drop, and they will drop in the fight, in the melee. They will deal enormous amount of damage, but they will drop because of low health and low melee defense. This guy has a melee defense of 42 and Forsaken only 64. Now the other thing about Forsaken is that this doesn't give bonus to Forsaken, it gives bonus to Chaos Warriors and Chaos Marauders. Legion of Doom gives to the Chosen unit, but not Forsaken. There are some things that improve Forsaken, but like here, where was it? Chaos spawns, yeah, plus 10 weapon strength for Forsaken, which is a monstrous because those guys have huge weapon strength, right? But they are also unit experience and leadership for Chaos Warriors, so there are, and melee attack for Chaos Warriors and Chosen unit, right? So you can pick this, but you can also pick this and other stuff. So that means you should probably go with this one, and this way this will make Dragon Ogres to appear in your army on turn 70. And that's long time to go without your signature unit. Really long time. And you will suffer from the full cost of all those units because you are not getting this 10% decrease on cost of Chaos Warriors. And you can think, well, there is only 10%, but with all other buildings, this flat 10% decrease is actually because you can get here to minus 20 some, and with this to minus 50 some, this flat 10% bonus from your base cost is actually more than 20% bonus from your end cost of your Chaos Warriors, basically. So this is something you should take into consideration. And with Sigvald is pretty much the same. I mean, Sigvald is slightly better positioned because he have a choice of choosing different units than Dragon Ogres. He can go with Chaos Warriors, but he's weaker than Kolek. So that's something to offset. So this is everything I wanted to tell you, I think, about this faction. This is what I think about it. If you like this video, press like. If you want to comment it, argue with me, draw my attention to something, please do put it in the comments. I would like that very much. I hope you enjoy it. Have fun. Bye.